Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Board of County Commissioners now in session. We'll have the prayer. Brother John Sink, mine saying it, and we'll lead it with the pledge.
Good morning, Commissioners, and God's blessings. Let us pray. Lord, we give you thanks and praise for bringing us here to this paradise and make us ever mindful to be good stewards of that responsibility. Now, in this session, Lord, bless our activities, our visions, our efforts to bring peace, tranquility, and prosperity to this great county that we love so much. We know you're the great God, and so that's why we ask it, because Christ, your Son, and with the Father and the Holy Spirit, reign in the unity of one God forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, we'll have the minutes. Approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
That's two sets of minutes, right? Three. The county bills, approval of the county bills.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We have the department heads. Howard Neighbor.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
I'll have nothing for the board at this time.
Anybody have anything for Howard? Yes, sir.
Number 2 of my report. First, let me, Steve, the fire chief at Alligator Point congratulated the Howard's department for the work. They did some work at the fire station that was deemed slightly hazardous for the helicopter, and he said they did an excellent job. So I just want Howard to know that. Number 2 of my report, discussion with Howard on his opinion of buying mill asphalt. C.W. Roberts has informed the county that they have the contract to pave US 98 between Port St. Joe and Apalachicola. And if the board wants to buy a quantity of mill asphalt, they will sell it for $5 a ton, correct? All right. So,
I'm gonna make a motion that we go ahead and approve this. Do you know how much you can get?
We just get as much as we can until, which is gonna be a lot, you know, because it's gonna be a long way, they're gonna be milling, so.
Real quick, Roberts and Roberts is fixing to do the project from the foot of the bridge to 12th Street here in Apalachicola.
Mhm.
And all that's gonna be milled also.
Okay.
Get with them too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, because
But
that's
we-
gonna be a shorter distance to take it to the state yard or whatever.
Yeah, we'll
And then
stockpile some different staging areas, Carabel, East Point, and Appalach right there.
So
So-
let's do this, I'll make a motion that we direct, staff and Howard to get with Roberts and Roberts
Mhm.
and to see what they will charge us for some too.
Okay.
And at the same time do C.W. Roberts also, because $5 a ton, that's a good price.
That's cheap, and it's right here in Franklin County too, that you're
Yeah,
getting it, so.
yeah,
Second.
so let's just see, and then I'll make that motion that you look into it, and if you think it, I'm gonna leave that to your discretion,
Okay.
what you need to do.
All right, we have a motion second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Anybody got anything for Howard? Thank you, Howard.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Fonda Davis, solid waste.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Everything in solid waste is good, animal control. We need to update the animal control ordinance. I spoke briefly with Mr. Schuler yesterday. The ordinance was adopted in 2001, so I think it's about time that it be revised. So I spoke briefly with Mr. Schuler on it.
So moved, I direct, I'll make a motion to direct Mr. Schuler to update the animal control ordinance and come back with the board with a recommendation.
I'm gonna second that. I got a question
Go ahead.
on that. Also, while you checking into that, it came to my attention one time, I don't believe we got no agreement with the cities on the animal control.
Okay.
We might wanna check in on that.
If that's the board's pleasure. To my knowledge, we do not have any interlocal agreements to provide animal control services either
don't,
for
do we?
Carabel or Appalachia.
Look into that, I'll add that to my motion for you to look into that and come up with some, something to bring back to this board, because you're right, Mr. Noah.
Yeah, I was checking on it one time and I looked at it, we didn't have one.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, have a motion second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
next item with animal control is that we've been experiencing some heavy calls in Caribbean on Highway 67 by horses. We really don't have anywhere to house them, but what we do, we try our best to get out there and get them and return them to the owner. But I don't know if it's legal for us to place some signs out side of the road saying horse area or horse in the area. So I just,
What it is out there on 67 at Sam Neal's old place. They've got some horses out there, and when Townsend Company came in and cut the lines, a lot of the old fence was exposed,
Okay.
and it's old fence, and that's what the problem is right there. So I don't have a problem with y'all putting a sign at either, on the bad curve right there, on either side, saying, you know, horse crossing or whatever, so.
okay.
What they doing, crossing back and forth?
Well, what it is, they're getting out of the pen and running away.
Okay.
They have gone as far as Lake Morality and Lanark, so, I don't, unless you wanna contact the owners and see if they can do something about the fencing.
Okay. Well, the last call, that's exactly what happened. Commissioner, Officer Flora went out and made contact with the owner, and she was trying her best to.
You know, so I don't know if they've, you know, got something going on with Townsend, where Townsend is gonna, the Townsend Company that was doing work for Duke Energy. I don't know if they've got a, you know, thing going on that Townsend would replace some of the fencing or whatever. I don't know, but the horses do get out a lot.
All right. All in favor? All right. Didn't we make, we done
The
voted, didn't we?
signs, the signs.
Oh, the signs, on the
Yeah, the
signs.
signs.
Gotta have a motion on that, don't we?
Yes,
Second.
yes, we need to have a motion
And
and second.
second on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion that we put up some signs saying horse crossing or
Okay.
whatever.
Okay.
I got a motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor? All opposed, motion carries.
Okay, in the Park and Rec Department, I have a vacant position that was terminated by an employee that did not meet the probation status. So I would ask the board that, can I fill that position at a later date?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second on the floor, all in favor? All opposed, motion carries.
Okay, that's it.
Anybody got anything from Fonda? Thank you, Fonda.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Fonda, for what you do.
Ms. Pam Burnell, Emergency Management.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We should expect rain for about 3 days from the remnants of Erica. And then we have, was Hurricane Fred, is now Tropical Storm Fred. So we're hoping it keeps going the way it's going. I had an action item for y'all this morning. Our debris contracts have expired. I have the new ones here, and me and Michael's been trying to work out some language in this contract on private property. This is the same contract that we signed 2 years ago and the years before that. There seems to be an issue with the words in here that says private property. There's one part in here, right of way, where it talks about the contractor shall use reasonable care not to damage any county or private property not already damaged by the storm. Should any property be damaged due to negligence on the part of the contractor, the county may either bill the contractor for the damage or withhold funds. This again is giving the county the right that if a contractor should crack somebody's driveway while they're trying to pick up trash, that the county has a right to have him pay for that or withhold funds. That part of private property. The other part is right of entry work. It says here, sand recovery, vegetation debris removal, hazardous household waste removal, and construction and demolition debris removal oftentimes requires for a county to instruct its contractors to perform work on private property. If this is necessary in Franklin County, the contractor will, and it lays out what the contractor will do for us if this was to become necessary. Again, then down here we have private property waivers. County excludes private property. We do not go on private property unless it would be absolutely necessary, and it would be a board decision. Michael, do you want to?
Commissioners, I think Pam's fairly outlined the issue. For me, wanted to bring to the board's concern that there's probably not a funding mechanism in the event you should go on to private property. So Pam, could you address that for the record, please?
Yes, because the county does not have a nuisance and abatement ordinance in effect, FEMA would not pay the county if we had to, for health or public safety issue, go on to private property. They will not pay us for that debris. That's why this would be absolutely a board decision before a contractor ever touched anything on private property.
And there's, in addition to the funding concern, I also want to bring to the board's attention, you already have the discretion during declared states of emergency at your discretion to enter onto private property. We've just never exercised that because we don't have the funding, we don't have the manpower, you don't have the equipment. I'm just concerned if you enter into a contract where you have a contractual obligation, you know, that takes us into a different realm than we've ever been into before. So I just wanted this issue brought up, you know, to the board, the funding issue, and then the issue of going on to private property. Clearly, it's a policy decision for the board to make. I just did not want to approve the contract, you know, without bringing this to your attention. I know 2 years ago, Pam showed me the contract. There was some language in there that gave the board some discretion, as she's outlined for you here this morning. But there was also a further provision in there that said that there would be record keeping so that you could get reimbursement. So, you know, maybe the FEMA regs were different 2 years ago, I don't know, but that there just is not any funding mechanism from FEMA if you should go on a private property and clear the rights of way. So I want to bring that to your attention. Otherwise, other than private property issue, the contract form is fine, but this is an action item that I thought the board needed to weigh into and give staff and the attorney some direction on how you want this to proceed.
Everybody got any feedback?
Yeah, I don't feel like we need to be going on private property, period. Number one, if you got a hurricane or home's been destroyed, you got insurance people there that should be taking care of any damages, hiring a contractor to remove trees, doing all this other stuff. And, you know, as been previously stated, we don't have the resources as a county to be going around and cleaning up people's yards or anything else. I'm not in favor of putting public employees or contractors working as public employees on behalf of the board on private property. I think that's something that, you know, we all come together as community when something like that happens, just like we did with the tornado over here in Appalachian, different areas of the community comes together and helps you get the stuff to the side of the road where it can be picked up. It's what we've always done, and I think that community is going to continue to do that. So I don't think we need to be expending tax dollars on private property. That's my opinion on that.
Anything?
Is this the same contract we've signed off on before?
Yes, ma'am. And again, no contractor will go on private property unless this board authorizes it. All this is saying is they are obligated to us to do certain things in their contract.
Well, why can't we just pull that section of it out and then approve the contract subject to that being pulled out?
That's,
You know, I mean, we gotta have a debris, we gotta have a
Absolutely.
debris contract. If we don't, I mean, we bit the bullet and bit it good this weekend with the storm not coming like they proposed. But it's gonna come, and we need to go ahead and get that in there now. If we can pull the part about the private property out and approve the rest of the contract, to me, that's fine.
The right of entry is on the contention there. I mean, it does
Yeah.
say that we exclude private property. I think the attorney's concern is about that one paragraph being on the right of entry. That has nothing to do
Right of
with
entry.
picking up off the side of the road. No, that
Yeah,
has nothing
yeah.
to do with that.
So you would be good if we took that right of entry out of there,
Absolutely.
Smokey? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Noah.
yeah, I wanna weigh in. I go along with my fellow commissioner. We don't have the resource. And then another thing, if it could be a coincidence, I mean, we could go in there and if one of our employees get hurt or something on private property, then they can get us, right?
yes, sir.
What-
If one of your
Yeah.
employees is injured, we're responsible under the workers' comp laws, under the process that you would go through.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly, but depending on the circumstances, it's possible, I guess, they could sue the county for damages to their personal property, but that's a very fact-specific determination. I mean, I can't just sit here and tell you that would be true in all cases. It would just depend on what would happen. We would have to evaluate that at the time. Is it a possibility? Yes, sir. I mean, I can't exclude that.
And I'll go along with it if they take it out like y'all say. Just take that part out and get it done.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
again, in a state of emergency, the board has discretion to order whatever they feel like they have to order. If we take that out, then at the time of the storm, when we have a declared emergency, then this board can enact that we will
Absolutely.
go on private property, or we will do that. But to have it in a contract, I'm kind of, I would like to leave it to the board's discretion myself. So, but I don't have no problem. I'll make a motion if Pam don't have, do you have any?
No, that's just up to y'all. Again,
Okay,
This is
well, I'll
just
make
lays
'em-
out what they have to do for us. If you decided, it's telling that they have to provide the right-of-way documentation to the county.
Yeah.
That means they have to come up with the forms, have to get them signed by the property owner.
Yeah.
They have to manage the administration, mailing, and collection of right-of-way entry forms. This basically says, if you decided for any reason, like you said, that you needed to go on private property, this is what they have to do for us.
Okay.
Instead of me having to go out or planning and zoning going out, the contractor would be responsible for collecting and getting that information out and getting it back.
Well, because you need a contract for debris removal, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we approve the contract, subject to taking the part with the right of entry out of it. Michael, you know what part that is? Pam, you know what?
1.5, just, all I gotta do is just
And,
go back
and
and take it
that you
out.
approve the contract, subject to that being taken out.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion second on the floor. All in, yes, sir.
One thing real quick, can we keep a record of that particular part that we're
Yeah.
removing? So if we, under in a state of emergency, we wanted to do what we had to do, we've got that little clause that we can say,
I'll add that to my
this is
motion.
what we want you to do. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's already written up, we'll just put it to the side, okay?
I'll add that to my motion.
Okay.
I'll amend my second for that.
Michael, can we go ahead and sign these contracts that I have in front of me? It's just one sheet's gotta come out, because we're looking at another 2 weeks for the next board meeting.
I think what we could do instead is, if the
Make a
board
motion.
ultimately votes to approve this motion in second, we'll get that amended, then we'll send somebody over and have the chairman sign it.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
We don't have to wait till the next board meeting.
okay.
Yeah.
I will go back to the office, because this is in Word format,
And
take it out
out.
and get it to you.
And keep the other,
Well, Pam, if you'll get it back down to Mr. Morone, then we go over to Carabel, we have a run over the table.
Okay, great.
Okay.
so that's my motion, and you do that.
All right. Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Have anything else, Ms. Pam?
That's it.
Anybody have anything for Pam? Thank you. Mr. Eric Love, he's not here today. Mr. Eric's not here. Okay, the Friends of the Library, consider the lease of Eastmont Library.
Something that's on Mr. Schuler's report, this is something that we're looking at approving the,
It's on his report.
oh, it's on. Never mind.
Well, I know, but I wanted, okay.
Okay, Mr. Sheila?
Oh, Mike, did you have? No. Okay. Commissioners, I have for your consideration this morning the lease proposed for the East Point Library. This lease would be between the Friends of the Franklin County Library, who are the landlords, the owners of the property. Franklin County would be the tenant. This is the same lease that you approved in 2013 with 3 changes. The first change is to the term of the lease. This initial term would run from September 1st, if you approve it today, to the end of your fiscal year, which would be September 30th of 2015. It then would automatically renew on October the 1st, 2015, and expire at the end of your fiscal year for that year, which is September 30th of 2016. Then it would continue thereafter to renew in 1-year increments, automatically on the same terms, unless either party exercised their right for convenience to terminate the lease upon 30 days' notice. The second change between the 2013 lease and this lease is that the rental is reduced from $2,700 a month to $2,000 a month. And then I have, which is the amount that this board has budgeted for that public service. And then I've also added a new paragraph, 31, special provision that the landlord, which is East Point, the Friends of the Franklin County Public Library, the landlord will be responsible for the maintenance of the driveway, the parking lot, and the grounds. Otherwise, this is the same lease that we've already entered into over a year ago. It expired and was not renewed at the beginning of this fiscal year, so we're just trying to clean this up, get you through this fiscal year, and provide for the ongoing fiscal years on the same terms and rental rate, unless the party should agree to some other different term. Unless the board has any questions for me, I would recommend that the board approve this lease as I presented it to you here this morning.
I got a question on,
Yes, sir.
I ain't got no problem about approving it, but if we approve it now, do we have the money in the budget, or do we want to?
There's currently money in the budget. It's my understanding that we get you through this fiscal year, and that your proposed budget has another $2,000 a month moving forward.
Yes. Yeah, we got it passed in the budget for this two here, then the following going down.
Yeah, I know, but we hadn't passed the budget. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Yeah.
We hadn't passed the budget yet. Make sure we got it. Make sure.
Well, you can say contingent upon the budget being passed, but I mean.
Yeah, because it's a rollback to budget. I don't see there's gonna be any problem with that.
Right. It was my understanding that the board had already proposed a budget, but I will certainly, if that's the board's wishes, I will add into the lease a provision that the annual renewal is subject to the board allocating funds for that upcoming budget year. I mean,
I think that would be a good thing.
That's a standard provision I see in a lot of contracts we
Yeah.
get from the state, but that's entirely up to the board.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve that with the language you just specified, Mr. Schuler.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
All right, have a motion second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Marsha Johnson.
She can step out, but she doesn't have a report.
She has no report. Mr. Alan Pierce.
I got something here on the store.
The first time, I'll just go to it. I participated in a conference call on Friday with representatives of 8 impacted counties. As Commissioner Sanders, I think, was going to talk about, from what she learned of the consortium, there was and I'll use the word attack because that's essentially what it was, an attack by the 15 counties who were not impacted by the oil spill to obtain some of the money. And I'll defer now if you want to talk about it
No,
now.
go ahead, go ahead.
All right. So in the conference call, that was not part of the consortium, but in the conference call I participated in, the reps in the 8 counties agreed there needs to be unity of the 8 counties as we are the ones impacted, not the rest of the state. It is possible that the 8 counties would create a separate committee of 8, which is what I'm sort of phrasing it, to protect our interests. The concept of the committee of 8 is to work together on issues outside of the consortium, such as protecting our mutual interests with Gulf Triumph, because Gulf Triumph is another funding source created by the state of Florida, and it's possible the legislature would be tinkering with those terms too. It's coming legislature. So the 8 counties, at least the restore coordinators and the county administrators, are looking to see, do we need to create something, those 8 counties binding the 8 counties together, being from Wakulla County all the way to the west, to make sure that our interests are protected, because as Commissioner Sanders and you all down there saw, there was an attack and a change on one of the pots already. So that's one of the bases of the reasons of the conference call, was that the 8 counties could try to work together. There's another conference call on Wednesday, September 16th, again for the 8 counties, staff people to get together. So at this time, I'll stop on that. Commissioner Sanders, you want to talk about the consortium activity?
There's a lot of activity going on there now. The attorney and the county coordinator, along with Chairman Massey, went down with me to St. Petersburg, and on the night before we were to get down there, Monroe County proposed a proposal, Monroe County and Key West, I have to say, proposed a proposal to the consortium to do a 75-25 split on the Pot 3 money. And after much debate and everything, another item that got brought up while I was in another meeting and had to come back in, was to divide it a third. So there's going to be a lot of attacks on the Pot 2 money and the Pot 3 money, consortium money. And what they use this for as their weapon is, you have 8 affected counties, y'all are getting Pot 1, and that's coming straight to you all. and you're getting that. But we're not getting anything, we're not getting anything other than the competitive, stuff. So it's getting what I call dicey, and it's very imperative that we have representatives there, because as Chairman Massey and the other, Mr. Morone and Mr. Shooter can tell you, Mr. Mike Thomas, who is a commissioner out of Bay County, said, it got to the point that he said, well, I'm going to tell you, I think what we need to do is the 8 counties pull out, divide our money, take our money, and the devil to the rest of you 15 counties. He said something else, but I said the devil. But to the devil with the rest of you 15 counties. And what it is the only impact that, sitting through everything that I can think of, the only impact that the other 15 disproportionate counties has had is a downturn in tourism. They didn't have an environmental impact. They didn't have, all they had was the economic impact. So we had the environmental, the 8 affected counties had we had the environmental impact plus economic impact.
Plus the human use impact.
And this is what we're made out of. And this is what I brought up with some of the people outside the room. I said, all we have to do is the 8 counties is pull out of this consortium and it'll go away. Because it's about the 8 counties. And we're trying to be
Inclusive.
inclusive to everybody. But I'm telling you, more proposals are getting slipped down through the thing, and they shouldn't even be there. This is what I told them. This is one of the things that took Franklin County a year to start belonging to this consortium. And Smokey, you remember, and the rest of the commissioners remember, because we were afraid of just what is happening, that the larger counties will swallow us up. And that's what's trying to happen. So we're going to be very vigilant, because as it now stands, if I'm not mistaken, as it now stands with the money that's already been there, we have somewhere between $12 and $13 million coming to Franklin County, and I'm not going to let nothing happen to that. And I don't think any of the other, I know none of the other staff or the board members are going to let that happen. But this is very, very important that when you see us go to these meetings, we're not just sitting there. We're there, but, we're going to have another meeting. And also at the same time, Ms. Lockvala out of Pinellas County said, well, why don't we form a committee? We've got committees on top of committees. We need to everybody play fair. We need everybody to come in there with expectations that we know, part 1, part 2, part 3. So what we did is they took a vote. They had, the 3 options, or the 2 options. They had the 75-25 match. They had a third, and they did have the 50-50. So the consensus of the consortium by 19 members out of 23 members was to go with a 50-50 split with a part 3. But that's not over yet, I don't believe. And I don't believe it is.
No, it ain't over.
So anyway, it's a big thing. It's a big thing, and it's very imperative that we keep a presence there. But at the same time, if by consensus of all the 8 counties, if they make a decision to either pull out of there or make a committee of 8, now I will support that, because I can see that the affected 8 counties are going to have some backing behind us, because they're going to try to swallow us up. And it concerns me. Would that be the take that you all have on it too?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think we need to set up something to put Alan where he can start attending and checking on stuff, because we haven't got nobody out looking ahead of us, and every other county's got someone looking. We haven't got coordinated to do it. So we need to do something to get Alan out to look.
Well, I'm doing it at the time being, and certainly, it was a little further along here, we can sort of talk about, what structure you want. I'm willing to help you all, to some degree. This is going to be a long-term project. I mean, this money, the Pot 1 money is sitting for Franklin County to whenever you get it, whether it be 2016, 17, or 2025, and that money's reserved there. The battle, as Commissioner Sanders said, is going to be in the next, few months about, are they going to make an attack this session on the legislature or on the Triumph money? Are they going to try and restructure the consortium again? I mean, these things are going to be coming out in the next few months.
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue, Michael asked me to do this. We're looking at the restore stuff from a staff standpoint. just because I have a little more, I have obviously more time than Michael does, and it's a complicated thing. It's just, so I'll do that, and we'll see how it goes. We'll just see how much time it takes and see how it goes. So that was item number one. Item number two is inform the board that I met with Clay Smallwood from Preble Ridge. We met with DEP representatives on Thursday, August 26th, to go over the state's early restoration projects in Franklin County. Now, you may recall the state of Florida got some money for early restoration, and they're doing 4 or 5 projects in the county. 2 of them, which are currently under contract with DEP, and now DEP's put Preble Ridge under contract to design the bathrooms at East Point and St. George Island fishing piers. So those are currently under contract. The bulkhead improvements of the St. George Island boat ramp also are under contract. And then the improvements of Indian Creek boat ramp. Those 4 projects, Preble Ridge has been signed by DEP to do the design work. DEP will let the bids on that project, but Preble Ridge is the design engineer for that. So we'll have some input on how it's going. We met again on Thursday, and I'm sure we'll meet again. The other improvements, specifically Lombardi project, that's still in the design phase, and I think Mr. Marone's going to be talking with people about getting a meeting set up for that to go over what's going to be done at Lombardi. But that is also still in the pipeline. And I'll say the tentative schedule is the bathrooms will be built first, probably in the winter, spring of 2016, and the other projects would follow probably in the fall of 2016. So that's sort of the schedule we're working on. The last thing is Dewberry. We did an RFQ for qualifications. We selected Dames and Dewberry as the prime for our Restore consultant, and I want to talk to you all after the meeting or sometime this week about the scope of work and make sure you all understand sort of what we're getting into and make sure everybody's agreement. We're following the path that Gulf County has already been down. Gulf County has a signed contract with Dames and Dewberry, and I believe it's covering all their needs, and so I'm going to recommend a similar thing, but I haven't had time to talk to you all about the details, and I want to do that, when you have comfortable to ask questions. So I'll be bringing that back up to you all.